You know Edna, don't you? You know, Edna the Maid from J.B. Priestley's play And Inspector Calls? Well, she's just a minor character, right? Right? Let's find out. Hey everyone, it's me, Liam, aka Mr. Knight, aka DystopiaJunkie. In this, hopefully, shorter video, I am going to quickly go over the character Edna from J.B. Priestley's play An Inspector Calls. Now I will admit that I think it is highly unlikely that you will be asked specifically about Edna in your exam, but this video will help you to think about how class is shown in the play, provides a nice contrast with my Eva Smith video, and may even include a couple of top grade golden nuggets for you to think about. As ever, make sure that you have got a pen and some paper out in front of you so that you can take notes of the things that I say over the course of this video. Please do not forget to like, comment and subscribe if you find that this video helps you out, as that helps me out so much as well. Here is my super quick summary of Edna. So Edna, she is of course the Birling family's maid. Now this would suggest that she is a working class woman, and also that her relationship with the Birlings is purely professional. Of course, their relationship is more complex than this, as the Birlings are both her social superiors and also her masters. She is doubly beneath them. Much like how Eva Smith is a representative of the working class, so too is Edna, although you could argue that they represent two sides of the same coin. Whereas Eva tries to fight against class boundaries, Edna seems to have accepted them. Other than that, we don't know much about her at all. We do not know her surname, her family or marital status, or even where she comes from. Perhaps J.B. Priestley only gives details of her profession because this is the only thing that her employers, the Birlings, would have cared about. Okay, so it's time to analyse Edna. So our first quotation is, Edna, the parlour maid, is just clearing the table. Here we can see that Edna's role is merely functional. She cleans up the mess of the middle and upper classes. If she is just clearing the table, the stage directions could suggest that she is not particularly interacting with the Birlings or Gerald, indicating that she knows her place and is respecting the class boundaries of 1912. Here I argue that Priestley has presented a compliant working class character, by which I mean that she respects those class boundaries. In doing this, he has established a foil to Eva. Now, a foil in this case is just a technical term that means something or someone that contrasts with something else. By creating this contrast, Priestley has also emphasised Eva's qualities, in particular the way in which she rejects those class boundaries. Furthermore, by having Edna be compliant, we get an insight into the sort of life Eva could have lived had she accepted her fate as a working class woman and not taken her own life. Next up, we've got two quotations. They are from Mrs. Birling. All right, Edna, I'll ring from the drawing room when we want coffee, probably in about half an hour. And from Mr. Birling, Edna will answer it. But what do they tell us about Edna? Well, we can see that it is Edna's duty to serve the Birlings, doing whatever it is that they ask of her. She is, for instance, expected to make them coffee in about half an hour, and Mr. Birling expects her to answer the doorbell when it rings. This also means that Edna is expected to do her duty, even if it inconveniences her. Because I don't know about you, but having to spend your evening waiting on a family, hand and foot, that sounds pretty inconvenient. Now, I think Priestley has chosen to include this so that the audience are able to see how the middle class treat the working class. There is no compassion here. They seem to view Edna only as somebody who works for them, almost a slave instead of a human being. This treatment of Edna could foreshadow how they all treat Eva. She was not particularly viewed as a human being either, just as an employee or object. Furthermore, Priestley has presented the Birling's relationship with Edna in this way at the start of the play for a very interesting reason. This working master-employee relationship would be seen as a more normal or typical relationship for the middle class to maybe have with the working class back in 1912. Because this relationship is normalised, what we see later on in the play with the Birlings and Gerald mistreating Eva then makes this relationship seem all the more negative. Through having this more normalised relationship shown at the start of the play, Priestley can then have his audience reflect on it at the end of the play, having them question how they traditionally treated those who are less fortunate than them. Now this is where things get interesting. Again, we have two quotations. The first one is from Edna, and she says, "Please, sir, an inspector's called. A police inspector. He says his name's Inspector Gould." And secondly, much later on, again from Edna, "It's Mr. Croft." Now, from a purely analytical viewpoint, these two quotations are quite straightforward. There are many politeness markers in Edna's dialogue, such as "please, sir," and the fact that she refers to Gerald as Mr. Croft rather than his first name, showing that she is respecting those class boundaries. However, where it gets interesting, at least in my opinion, is in Priestley's intentions. Edna's lines of dialogue occur when she introduces the inspector and when she reintroduces Gerald. These are two significant moments in the play, as they signal massive shifts in tone. When she introduces the inspector, the mood of the party shifts from jovial to intense and somewhat antagonistic. When she reintroduces Gerald, it allows a moment of great tension to diffuse, as he eventually announces that he believes the inspector to be a fraud, which makes many of the characters feel relieved. These two tonal shifts are massive, and it is Edna, a working class character, who shepherds them in. I believe that this is Priestley's way of implying that the working class are capable of causing great change, not only to the lives of the middle and upper classes, but to society at large. Simply put, by showing Edna in this light, he is celebrating the working class's potential for societal change. So there we go. That is this relatively short and sweet video over. Hopefully you've taken something away from this, such as some more quotations that could be applied to the themes of class or power, or that exploration of Priestley's use of Edna as a vehicle for change, or just generally a better understanding of Edna as a character. Just because she is a minor character, it doesn't mean that she's unimportant. So what can you do now? Well, you could like the video, and comment too, why not? And of course, if you aren't already, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. And whatever you choose to do with it, I hope that you have an awesome rest of the day. If you are revising, please do remember to take frequent short breaks, as a burned out student is not a happy or successful student. And you know what? I think happy and successful are two things that you deserve to be. So there we go, that is my analysis of Edna the Maid from J.B. Priestley's And in Spectacles done. If there's one thing I want you to have learned from this video, it's that just because a character is minor, it doesn't mean that they are not important. Look for meaning and importance and significance wherever you can find it, in even the only occasional and infrequently appearing characters. Have an awesome rest of the day. Cheers.